Well, I'm here today to talk about a proposed solution for funding the unfunded pension liabilities. A solution that does not raise taxes, does not include a new tax, creates reforms for new hires and new hires only, but protects current employees, fire and rescue, and police. The question really before us today is, why is this so important now? Well, it's very simple. This will not be easy to solve. Many of you have seen this problem kicked down the road for many, many years. But this is the time that we have to deal with this. This is costing us, as you know, in our annual budget, close to $200 million in cash flow and dollars that we can be spending on the things that we should be in Jacksonville, investing in our quality of life, our infrastructure, our river, all the things that our citizens have come to expect and deserve that their tax dollars go towards. But most importantly, at the time right now that we're facing is a critical time for public safety. You know, in my first budget cycle, as you know, because you approved it and I'm grateful for that, we scrapped and we worked hard and we scraped to propose 40 new police officers and 40 community service officers. We did that because our police force was at the lowest it had been since 2003. And this is not a time that we can back off on this investment. We have to continue to invest in our public safety, Jacksonville journey for at-risk youth, but the fact of the matter is, if this continues, this is strangling and crippling our ability to do that. The question really before us is, how many more of these shootings do we have to witness? If we're going to solve this public safety problem, we've got to free up this cash flow and solve this pension problem. Christmas Day, a 2-year-old was shot. 2 years old. I spoke to the child's mother last night. These are real people, real families. And I've said this before, regardless of the zip code, regardless of the family situation, these are our people. And the only way that we're going to have the public safety, police force, fire that we need to fix this and to invest in all of the quality of life things, roads and infrastructure and river, is if we solve this unfunded pension problem. So it's very simple what I'm asking, what me and my administration are going to be asking council to do. And by the way, I want to thank my entire team that's here today for all of the hard work that has gone into building this proposal. In the days ahead, we're going to ask you to endorse and to support a resolution of the following plan. I will be filing legislation, we've got a draft in now with the Florida legislature, that will ask them to extend the Better Jacksonville Plan half-cent sales tax beyond its expiration date of 2030. Extend it to a point of either 2060 or at a point in time when the unfunded liability is paid off, whichever comes first. What does this mean? This means an immediate reduction in the unfunded liability, which will be a significant reduction in the cash flow we will have to invest in this on an annual basis, beginning the moment this passes. This plan will also move new hires to a defined contribution plan from a defined benefit plan. It will protect current police and fire employees, which is an incredibly important thing to note because promises were made in the past and promises must be kept. What does this mean for our city? I'm going to be the broken record again. A safe city. A city where every zip code knows they matter, where they know we are investing in every single life. It also means that we'll be able to attract the best and the brightest in police and fire, because we'll have the resources we need for starting salaries and we'll be able to be competitive amongst all cities in the state of Florida. And it will save our city significant amounts of dollars in the years ahead. And I'll close with this. You'll be seeing more details in the days ahead as we ask you to support this resolution. This will not be easy. My team and I are going to fight and work with relationships in Tallahassee to get this through the House and the Senate and to get the governor's support. This is going to be a lot of work in the weeks ahead, and I'm absolutely committed to it. I said before, and I'm going to say it again, we have to solve this problem now. It has to be solved now. So I'm asking you to take a hard look at this. Put all the politics aside, and let's solve this problem. This is something we can solve if we have the political courage to do it. Thank you for all that you do, and I look forward to a bright future for Jacksonville, and it begins with solving this problem. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, I have Ms. Gressmany on the queue, so
Yes,
I
sir.
want to forward And I would suspect we're going to have multiple questions, but I think that I'm sure there'll be a presentation as to specifics in the future as the resolution is considered. So that
Yeah, there'll be a handout with specific. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say I'd encourage my colleagues, but while I'm sure they have multiple questions, let's stay with the general questions as much as possible, and then I'm sure we'll get into specifics in the future. Mr. Crescimenti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, thank you for being here, and thank you for your initiative on this issue. It is a tremendous problem that we've been grappling with for years, and it does need to be, at some point, reach its closure, and I think this is the way to do it. Two things. I just want to let you know that if there's anything the council can do to help in Tallahassee, I think many of us operating independently could go over and visit with whoever we need to visit to. I'd make that offer to you. If I might do you more good by not going to Tallahassee, I don't know. But and the second thing is, if you need a sponsor on that bill when you introduce it, please add my name to it. I'm fully supportive.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and we will be asking for your help because this is going to take a team effort with any and all relationships that we have. I'll actually be over in Tallahassee next week as session opens to begin making the case as to why this is so important. Thank you, Councilman.
Mr. Gaffney.
Through the chair, Mayor, I met with you last week, and you know I'm on board. The two concerns here, does the police as well as the fire department, pension board is on board also. Does they support this concept?
Yeah, so we are continuing to work, have had conversations with folks of influence and folks that matter. Let me back up a minute. So we've been talking about this plan for months, and we haven't revealed much up until today publicly. And the reason is because we wanted to make sure we had everything organized, everything in order before rumors could get out, rumors that aren't necessarily true. For example, folks may be suggesting that we're going to that this plan will mess with the benefits of current police and fire. We didn't want those rumors out there because they're not true. So to answer that question, we are working with those individuals, and we believe we have a good chance of getting everybody on board.
And closing here, I want to thank you for your leadership. This is a problem that we all is aware that's been just really struggling, making the city struggle financially for years. And I like the concept. And I want to believe that we are a team here, and so I'm going to support it 100%.
Thank you.
Mr. Uzuri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mayor, welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
It's a good New Year for all of us. A good year. And this may get into your detail sheet, but just some basic questions that if you do the half cent or extend the half cent, are you anticipating bonding that like Better Jacksonville? Is that how you would do it or no?
So there's no answer to that right now. The answer is, how does the unfunded liability go? How do we free up cash flow to invest in the things that we need to invest in the years ahead? Even though the tax expires in 2030, once you extend that to a point in time, once the actuarial calculations are done, that unfunded liability will at some point drop to a point which will reduce what we have to invest in cash flow on an annual basis. So simply put, we will have you can't put a number on it right now. Could be $60 million, could be in excess of $100 million in additional cash flow for operations that we don't have right now. Go back to what I said when I opened. We're spending approximately $200 more million than we would be under normal circumstances because of this issue.
Thank you. The other question would be, are you going to ask the legislature, or do you know now whether you're going to ask the council to vote this, or are you going to ask to do a referendum like we did for Better Jacksonville before?
We're going to ask the legislature to put it in front of council for a supermajority vote.
And the last question, defined pension plan, will we be, or are you there yet for matching whatever you want to put in? Or
we will have to work through those details with the interested party. So the answer is, we know that that's an issue we're going to have to work on to make it competitive, and we know that we don't have that answer yet.
Will that be negotiated or no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, you know that I and a number of my colleagues that were reelected, this has been a huge issue for us. I personally have taken a great deal of interest. I introduced legislation on a fire tax, which I thought was an option, a bad option, but limited options available to us, and even a bad option was one that we needed to look at. I'm going to ask my colleagues a little bit later in the Finance Committee if somebody would move to withdraw that bill. I don't think that it's appropriate that we have that under consideration during this process, because I applaud you for what you're doing on this, and we want to give full and solid and collective support to your efforts, and I think that might be a good demonstrative act if my colleagues agree. So when we get a little bit farther into the agenda, I'm going to ask for that. So I applaud you. Certainly this community needs to get this resolved and move forward, and anything we can do, just like Mr. Cressman has said, I'm supportive in any way I can be, personally and otherwise, in this effort. So thank you all again, and thank you personally for your leadership. And I have no one else on the queue. Oh, excuse me. Mr. Anderson, I'm sorry that we have ineffective technology up here, but I yield the floor to you, sir. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year, everyone. Mr. Mayor, Happy New Year. Thank you. I applaud your efforts right off the bat, trying to address one of the big issues that we've been dealing with. Thank you very much for your efforts here. Just a couple quick clarifications, and I know we'll get some details. Number one, your proposal would address not just the police and fire pension fund, it would also address the general employees.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's not
2.6, 2.7 billion, the whole thing.
all right. And then just quickly, I wanted to make sure I got the clarification on your last comment. So to extend this tax, there are a couple ways to do that, and I think you had just said that you're looking for a supermajority of the council. Does that mean you're not going to go to the legislature for this?
No, so we have to, thanks for asking on the clarification, because it's not clear when you initially look at it. So in order to do anything, it starts with the legislature, and a number of things could happen there. We are asking, so they have to approve something to extend this. We're asking them to put this before council for a supermajority vote for me to then sign. And we're going to be asking you for a resolution in the days ahead supporting this, so they know that we as a city believe that this is a problem that we have to solve. And look, as I said when I opened, I believe on this issue, we've got to put all politics aside. The entire future of Jacksonville hinges on this. That's crystal clear. It is crystal clear. The $200 million I mentioned is going to continue to escalate. We will have nothing left to do anything. When I talk about public safety being a top priority, we'll get to a point where we can't even invest in public safety.
Mr. Zuri.
Just following up, Mr. Mayor, on Mr. President Anderson's question. If I understand it right, the original Better Jacksonville plan, without the fire, of course, allows you to extend the BJP with a two-thirds vote on projects. Is that correct? Is not correct? That you can
expires
do
in
other projects, but
2030.
not the fire and police or general employees, but for specific capital projects. I thought that the law said that you can extend it by two-thirds of a vote, and that's why you have to go to the legislature, because you're talking about police and fire and general employees and not for capital projects, correct or no?
Well, we're certainly not talking about capital projects here.
Well, I know.
And in order to use this for a source of revenue to fund the unfunded pension liabilities, it absolutely has to go through the legislature.
I was just talking about the existing law that passed back 10, 15 years ago. I think I'm right, but
Sunsets in 2030. Yes,
right.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Through the chair to the council, and specifically Councilman Azuri, there's two-thirds language in the Better Jacks legislation that allows you to move projects around, change projects, increase projects, eliminate projects. That is separate from the tax extension. The tax must sunset in 2030.
I understand.
There is no two-thirds majority council vote to allow the Better Jacksonville half-cents tax that went into effect in 2000 to go beyond 2030.
So if it was
Mr. Musa, you've already earned 2 demerits. Introduce yourself, sir, please.
I apologize,
for the record.
sir. Good morning, Sam Musa, Mayor's Office, and Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year, Mr. Moose. So if it didn't reach the 2030 year, then if you had some room, if you did under present law, you can only take away projects, move projects. Could you add projects up to 2030 with two-thirds votes?
No, sir. You can't add projects. If the projects get finished before 2030, then the surtax sunsets before 2030.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay, I have no one else on the queue. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Everybody should have received a copy.
Thank you. Let's be bold.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, you are. Everybody should have received a copy of this, and I'm going to exercise a little executive privilege and recess for 5 minutes.